This guy, Count Dracula, the main character of Hotel Transylvania, is supposed to be a super-villainous vampire who rules over legends of terror, right? Well, let me tell you, this dude literally built a 5-star hotel for monsters to hide from the humans he hates, and you'd think that's a cool, scary thing, but nah, not when his overprotective dad energy is off the charts. I mean, can you imagine a guy who's thousands of years old, but still somehow manages to act like a helicopter parent? Yeah, that's Dracula for you. So, Dracula's big plan in life? Keep his daughter, Mavis, safe from the horrors of the world, which, apparently, includes everything outside of the hotel. I mean, this guy is so paranoid, he goes as far as to build a freaking invisible force field around the hotel to protect her from the humans out there. And to make matters worse, he tells her the world is terrifying, with dangerous people, and all sorts of nightmares. But guess what? Mavis is a teenager, and she's just like, Dad, chill, I want to see the world for myself. Now, here's where things get really weird. Dracula's big plan to keep Mavis from leaving the hotel? He's like, oh, you want to go outside? Well, let me just invite a bunch of monsters to my hotel for the weekend so you can have fun with your kind of creepy uncle and weirdly scary cousins. Yeah, he throws a crazy monster party, because nothing says safe like a bunch of frightening creatures doing the Macarena in your front yard. I mean, sure, it's a safe place for Mavis to hang out, but this place is like a bizarre, Halloween-themed theme park with monsters that do absolutely ridiculous things, like Frankenstein dancing to pop music or mummies arguing about who's the most wrapped up at the party. It's like a parade of nonsense. Dracula's genius idea of a safe space is actually just a circus of insanity. Now, get this. Just when things seem out of control, Jonathan, a human, shows up at the hotel, and Dracula flips his lid. I mean, the guy literally thinks the end of the world has arrived, but it's just a backpacking, goofy human who accidentally crashes the party. So Dracula spends the entire time trying to hide Jonathan from Mavis, because he just can't fathom that a human could ever be cool enough for his daughter. But here's where things get extra ridiculous. Jonathan, who has no idea that the hotel is full of monsters, thinks he's just at a super eccentric hotel and tries to fit in by acting like a crazed, party-loving dude. So now Dracula, the thousands of years old vampire, is spending all this time trying to trick Jonathan into thinking he's just another monster. And he pulls off all these ridiculous disguises like a zombie waiter and a Frankenstein butler just to make sure Jonathan doesn't figure out he's dealing with actual monsters. I mean, who thought this was a good plan? But here's where the real fun begins. As Dracula's trying to keep this human away from his daughter, he doesn't realize that Mavis is falling for Jonathan because he's actually normal. He's just a dude who doesn't hide behind 100 layers of supernatural drama or pretend to be someone he's not. And the best part? Mavis is loving the whole, hey, the world outside isn't scary thing, so she's totally crushing on Jonathan, while Dracula is literally freaking out trying to stop the whole thing. It's like watching a super protective dad trying to block a love story with the worst, most awkward moves. Cringe level over 9,000. Meanwhile, Dracula's getting all bent out of shape, pulling off horrible disguise after horrible disguise, trying to convince everyone that Jonathan is a dangerous human. But guess what? It backfires. And in the end, Dracula becomes the biggest joke in the hotel, trying to keep up his reputation as a scary vampire while his hotel is filled with silly shenanigans like the invisible man who can't find his own clothes, wolves trying to play ping pong, and a vampire bat that's afraid of bugs. But oh boy, this whole dad just wants to protect his daughter thing turns into the biggest lesson about family, letting go, and how Dracula realizes that maybe, just maybe, he doesn't need to be so ridiculous about everything. But it takes an epic showdown of dads and daughters, where Dracula finally comes to his senses, drops his over-the-top vampire act, and accepts that maybe, just maybe, his daughter might be able to handle a little bit of the outside world, without him trying to wrap it all in bubble wrap. And what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, it's that family dynamics are crazy, especially when your dad is a centuries-old vampire who thinks that throwing a random monster party is the way to go. So, yeah, Hotel Transylvania is basically a ridiculously funny story about a vampire dad who just wants the best for his daughter, but has absolutely no idea how to let go, until he learns that love, trust, and maybe a little bit of human chaos can actually save the day. Oh, and also, monsters?
Yeah.
They really like to throw wild parties. Who knew?